Hey viewers, welcome back to the King Kong Review series. We're now in the 1970s. John Travolta has entered disco, the Afro wig is popular, and monkey mania has soared to an all-time high. How so? Well, let me fill you in. The original 1933 King Kong is everywhere, playing on TV constantly and getting a few re-releases in theaters in 1973. Hell, New York's Channel 9 played it every night for 1 week. The fanbase was growing, Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine dedicates more to the ape, and the film begins to inspire future filmmakers, most notably Peter Jackson at this time. Though fans loved the original, they thought it was about time for Hollywood to do a proper big-budget remake in widescreen and in color. What follows is one of the best chapters in Kong history, so much that I can't fit it all into one video, so we're gonna focus on one part here. And today, we're gonna take a look at the 1976 remake of King Kong, which in my opinion is the best Kong film and my favorite film of all time. I am dead fucking serious right now. This movie is unbelievable. And, well, I don't want to waste any time, so let's take a look at this movie. So, what's the story? Well, I will say huge spoiler alerts because this review is gonna get long. Updated to the 1970s, the original Robert Armstrong character Carl Denham is now Fred Wilson, played by Charles Grodin, a big-shot oil magnate from Petrox Oil, looking for new petroleum deposits on a recently undiscovered Pacific island. He manages a crew on board the American vessel Petrox Explorer to set a voyage to the island. Jack Prescott, played by Jeff Bridges, is a counterculture paleontologist stowing away on Wilson's ship, who warns that they are headed for Skull Island, where prehistoric monsters still said to live and roam free. Thinking he's a stowaway, they lock him up. But Prescott luckily saves himself by spotting a raft out at sea. Rescuing the raft, the crew discover the beautifully gorgeous Dwan, played by the stunningly hot Jessica Lange, in her film debut, a down-on-her-luck starlet, shipwrecked in the ocean after the sinking of a yacht.
Did you ever meet anyone before whose life was saved by Deep Throat?
Okay? Along the way, Fred checks out Jack, and he becomes the expedition's official photographer.
Congratulations, you're now this expedition's official photographer.
Hey, I just said that! Upon arriving on the island, the team discovers a primitive tribe of natives who live within the confronts of a gigantic wall, built to protect them from a mysterious god. Spotting Dwan, she really becomes down on her luck when the natives abduct her and offer her as a sacrifice to Kong, a colossal 50-foot gorilla. The monumental ape grabs Dwan from the altar and departs back into the jungle. Jack and some crew members hike into the jungle trying to rescue Dwan. During their time together, Kong takes a shine to her. Although an awesome and terrifying sight, the soft-hearted Kong quickly becomes tamed by Dwan, whose rambling monologues claims and fascinates the monstrous beast. Kong takes Dwan back to a waterfall. He washes her and uses a great gust of his warm breath to dry her. The rescue party encounters Kong while crossing a log bridge, and Kong rolls the huge log, sending the sailors falling to their deaths. Kong takes Dwan to his lair, and Dwan takes on barge when the ape tries to remove her clothes. Rule 34! Now the image is ruined for you! Suddenly, a giant snake appears and attacks the pair. Kong, bravely protecting her, battles the serpent. But Prescott comes to her aid and rescues her from the gorilla's big mitts. Meanwhile, Fred and the team finds that while there is a large deposit of oil, it's of such low quality that it's unusable. When Fred discovers this, he decides to capture Kong, seeing money to be made off the giant ape. Kong breaks through the giant wall only to fall into a pit trap and to be overcome with chloroform. Wilson locks him in a cargo hold of a tanker ship and transports him to New York City. Dwan, now made a public star by Wilson, feels bad for Kong and tries to defend him, but Wilson tells her that he's only a perverted monster. When they reach New York City, Kong is put on display in a Beauty and the Beast farce, bound with chains, with a large humiliating crown on his head. When he sees a group of reporters pushing and shoving Dwan for interviews, the ape breaks free of his bonds in anger, roaring roars at the crowd as panic ensues. Kong walks through the crowd, including Wilson, who is completely flattened by the ape's foot. Kong wreaks havoc upon the city before recapturing Dwan and being compelled to climb to the World Trade Center for sanctuary. Although saving Dwan from the Marines with flamethrowers, Kong is eventually shot bloodily by military helicopters with miniguns, falling from the World Trade Center, viewing his love as he dies, leaving Dwan as a fallen, grieving star. There are no words to describe how I feel about this film. If I could, I would say it's a beautiful, epic magnum opus. It's a big movie, and I mean big, both in scope, story, characters, and visual effects. So where do I begin with the history? Well, I guess it starts with famed big-budget producer Dino De Laurentiis' obsession to make a film bigger and better and to steal the thunder from Steven Spielberg's Jaws, then the top-grossing film of all time, in this big-budget remake of the 1933 classic King Kong. And seeing the popularity of the character growing bigger in the 70s, thought the time was right. Dino signed a deal with RKO to do an official remake in 1975. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Universal came into the picture and a titanic lawsuit battle began. But that's a whole other story. With the race between Paramount and Universal on who could get the first shot in the can, Dino acted fast and immediately bought the best people he could get. Lorenzo Simple Jr. wrote the screenplay and is one of the keys on why the film is what it is for me. The writing is very, very strong, again with the love story, but also dealing with environmental issues and, by the end, the horrible greed of man. And this coming from the man who wrote the 1966 Adam West Batman show. John Gullerman directed the picture, giving it its incredible delivery. Sadly, he's nowhere to be found now. I wonder what happened to him. The cast is incredibly outstanding and perfect. Jeff Bridges is the finally very interesting protagonist, playing a man constantly switching sides, torn between love and power. Charles Grodin is the antagonist, a slimy, hateful villain, who will stop at anything, even the safety of his fellow crew members, to get his way. And in the end, theatrical version, his death is well deserved. And finally, the beautifully gorgeous and stunning Jessica Lange delivers an outstanding performance as the beauty who charmed the beast. Her character at first, like other versions, is frightened at the sight of Kong, but during the time they spend together, she realizes he's not a bad guy, he's just lonely, and eventually grows to love him and doesn't want him to be exploited. And it's because of her that the king dies. Her stardom that she longingly wanted is typecast for him. The locations and sets, top notch. The Petrox Explorer is a fantastic looking ship. Though different, stays in par with the Venture from the original. The real ship is called the RV Melville, an oceanographic research vessel that still sails the seas. I'm hoping one day to board it, reliving the scenes from the film in my head. Most of Skull Island was filmed on the island of Kauai. Interesting considering that another one of my favorite films, Jurassic Park, would be filmed there almost 20 years later. The island's view is beautifully filmed, showing its lush greenery, waterfalls, and beaches. In fact, those beaches are still there, untouched. The Great Wall and Kong's show was filmed at the studios, using the same structure. The wall looks incredible. A lot of detail went into it. New York is well photographed, both real and miniature. The World Trade Center almost sparkles in the night, giving that haunting feel of the now gone structures. And the amount of extras throughout the film did a fantastic job as well. Which brings us to the special effects. Though not as memorable as the classic stop-motion animation from the original, are still stunning to look at. The miniature jungles, caves, houses, and environment are amazing. However, the giant ape himself was used with many different effects, one of them using full-scale pieces. Kong's arms, feet, and even a full-size robot were created by the legendary Carlo Rambaldi. Better known for the creature effects in Close Encounters, E.T., and Alien. The Kong robot unfortunately did not work as the production wanted it to, saying that it was the main lead in the effects, able to do everything. The majority of Kong's full-size action and incredible performance were done by a man in a suit, far superior than that of the rip-offs and Toho films by rising star and future Academy Award winner Rick Baker. If you need a man to portray and make the most realistic apes for film, he's your top dollar man. His performance is unforgettable and unbelievable, both in facial features and in body. As a kid, he scared the shit out of me with his vicious teeth and demonic yet innocent red eyes. And as time went on, the character grew on me, which is the whole idea of the character of Kong. A scary, ferocious beast, but also sympathetic by the end. Then comes post-production. The editing is fast-paced and exciting. For those who think it's too fast, there is a solution. When Kong made a special television debut in 1979 on NBC, 45 minutes of additional, deleted, or extended scenes were cut back into the film, making the runtime from 2 hours and 15 minutes to a whole 3 hours. While most of the new footage is extended scenes, alternate takes, and pointless shots that just fill the runtime, a few deleted scenes are worth mentioning. First is a deleted scene from the beginning of the movie on how Jack Prescott stowed away on the Petrox Explorer. Apparently, to get one of the crew jerseys, he drugged one of the crew members' drinks to knock him out. Another deleted moment is during the montage scene, in which 2 crew members spy on Dwan showering. Kind of a creepy moment, but again, shows some greed in man. Finally, a completely alternate ending to the demise of Fred Wilson, where he is fired and told he'll be hunted down by Petrox for the damages Kong will leave. Attempting to flee, he encounters Kong. Now in the theatrical version, Kong steps on him, killing him. In the alternate version, Kong's foot comes down, revealing only Fred's squished hat. This apparently got a lot of backlashing from previous screenings that they recut it to make it look like Fred was killed. Which is better in my opinion, considering he's the villain. We don't want to see him live and get away after all he's done. We want to see the fucker die. So kudos for Ralph E. Winter's editing for giving us a proper way to kill off an asshole. The sound effects are great. The background sounds of the jungle are soothing to listen to. Although Kong's roar is a reused stock dinosaur roar from such films as The Land Unknown, Duel, and Jaws, some of Kong's vocals were created by legendary voice actor Peter Cullen. That's right, even before Beast Wars Transformers, Cullen was the original Optimus Primal.
I'd say that's prime.
Finally, there's the music. It's by far one of the best things in the film, and one of my favorite scores, period. Written and composed by 007 theme maker John Barry. His score gives a very haunting, romantic tone, which is what the film ultimately is. To me, this tops Max Steiner's score. The opening is powerful, and again, very haunting, with its powerful moments using the organ. But it's the love theme that sticks out. It's a memorable piece, leaving sort of a tear in my eye. Listen to that music all day. Apparently, Barry wrote a song around the theme called Are You In There?, which never made it into the print. Such a shame, considering its beautiful lyrics.
Are you in there? Can you hear me? Are you someone I should know? How can I tell?
Such beautiful music. Would have been a great Oscar contender for Best Original Song. This is where the ending comes into play. It's strong and it's big. Very big. It's suspenseful, heartwarming, terrifying, incredible, and heartbreaking. Kong is not on the Twin Towers to fight a classy action scene against the choppers, but to protect the one he loves, and it cost him his life. Falling from grace and broken-hearted. I cry every time I see this scene. But suddenly, the masses of Piggly Man arrive like the biggest teabagging. Press taking pictures of the dead creature, like Pride and Dwan being showered with tears while corporate men surround her smiling, like fake heroes. What we see here is the greed of man. Our reaction is to hate and question what we've become. Dino De Laurentiis related his tactics to Tom Snyder. When Jaws dies, nobody cries. When Kong dies, they all cry. I know I've probably gone a bit overboard with this review, but coming from a fan of movies and giant monster films, this film is something I want everyone to watch. Nowadays, the film is picked on and getting bashings for its unfair competition to the original and 2005 remake, and I'm hating the backlash. This is its own movie with its own story. It's not supposed to be the original, it's its own take on it, meaning they can do what they want with it and not use all the original source material. It's big in scope, and its version of the Beauty and the Beast tale is the best adaptation of the classic love story. The whole movie is boiled down to the love story between Kong and Dwan, and during the climax at the end, I cry every time I watch it. It's a very underrated and unappreciated classic. My favorite Kong film of all time, and my favorite film of all time. Check it out. It's a beautiful, epic masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Well, there you have it, folks. The 1976 remake of King Kong, my favorite film of all time. Which begs the question, what the hell can top this gem of a masterpiece? Well, next time we're going to take a look at a comedy ripoff from the people of London. So stay tuned next time when we take a look at Queen Kong.